Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to share with you my journey along this program. And now you must be wondering, why is my story any different from others who are going through the same program? I practiced as a clinician for 29 years before I came to this program. And instead of thinking of retirement, I was thinking of coming back to school. So what motivated me to come back to school was my belief. Right from my childhood, I thought PhD was the coolest thing to do in this whole wide world. I don't know whether that was the effect of listening to stories of ancient Indian scientists like Aryabhatta instead of listening to fairy tales. I don't know about that. So, where was I before 2007? I got my first degree from University of Mumbai. After that, my parents could not financially support me through a graduate education program. So I went, I got married, and etc., etc., etc. In the early 90s, I had an opportunity to contribute a chapter on incidence of back pain in Indian farmers that was accepted for publication in a book titled Occupational and Preventative Physiotherapy, Work Stress and Posture. At that time, I bought a book called Clinical Biomechanics of Spine by White and Punjabi. The original cost was in dollars, and when you translate it to Indian rupees, it was pretty formidable for us as a family. And we decided to actively seek some overseas opportunities for job if we wanted to get anywhere with my passion. My first opportunity was in Bahrain. There was no school of physiotherapy, but I took that opportunity to do a literature review to evaluate the benefits of exercises for osteoarthritis of the knee, and that was published in Bahrain Physical Therapy Journal. But there was no school of physiotherapy. So then I moved on. I came to United Kingdom. I completed 4 semesters of my master's, and then as a family, we had to come to Canada for some personal reasons. Our first destination was Regina, Saskatchewan. Now, Regina is too cold and there's no school of physiotherapy. So we kept moving. Then I came to London. Aha, that's the spot I wanted to be. The school, the work, my house, everything so close by, and I thought this was the perfect opportunity for me to see if I can still pursue my dream. And there I was in the coolest place, and I could pursue my PhD. In 2006, I had already started conversations with Dr. Overend to see if he would really accept me as a student. And he did, which was good. Back to school, excited, all excitement. Well, all I did was I went shopping, bought all that cool stuff, but at the same time, I wanted to complete all the PT field requirements at once, simply because I thought my age would catch up to me and then I would have no time left to enjoy a post-PhD era. So that was my problem. In the first year, I completed some coursework, and around Christmas, Dr. Overend decided to give me a data from his study to write a manuscript. And I felt, yes, on top of publications, and back in business. Now my experience of writing the manuscript, this is very interesting. Every time I wrote a draft of the manuscript and sent the draft to Dr. Overend, received it back, it would bleed. My computer would go red in face. But I learned English in a new perspective, how to write, how to publish. And this was published in Physiotherapy Canada early last year. Then, about year 2, it was like literally plowing through piles and piles and piles of paper, and all we got was 3/4 or 4/4 of credit for doing all that work. So that was my year 2. Now, of course, after all the coursework, you have to start thinking about the comps, right? Now, the comps process was really a mystery to me, and I used to sneak my way into the conversations. Any conversations about comps, I used to start sneaking my way into it. Wouldn't get much. All I got from it was you have to have 2 breadth topics and 1 depth topic. So, how broad should breadth topic be, and how deep should a depth topic be? Well, that was real another problem, eh? So then I went to Dr. Overend, and I said, Dr. Overend, I don't know what to do for my comps. Well, he guided me, and we were able to come up with appropriate topics. The next part was the comps preparation. That was fun. It was tons and tons and tons of work understanding the subject matter, thinking that now I'm studying about kidney diseases, which is not a mainstream physiotherapy topic. So understanding how the kidneys function was like, okay, going back to school and trying to do everything all over again. So I was trying to understand the subject matter. At the same time, I was trying to understand the perspectives of the examiners and what they thought of their own research topics, and how did they want me to learn these topics, and what did they want me to assimilate from what they were teaching me. I also wanted to look at the unique way of questioning. I particularly mention this because, for example, if somebody asked me a question, what are you eating right now? I could say, I'm eating my lunch. No, what are you eating right now? Okay, I'm eating my sandwich. No, what are you eating right now? No, I'm eating a bread and vegetable sandwich. So it's kind of getting to the specifics, and I learned all those things, and the outcome was I passed. Now the fellowship. I felt a lot of peer pressure. Every time I was at Elborn, I would listen to people and they would be talking about, oh, I'm going to apply for CHIR funding, or I'm going to apply for Heart and Stroke Foundation research funding. And it used to make me feel, am I not capable of applying for some kind of funding because I'm so old or something? Anyway, I decided to apply for the Kidney Foundation Fellowship, maybe just for the experience of it. And people at the Kidney Foundation Fellowship and Dr. Overend were very good, and they guided me through the process. Well, finally, I did get the Kidney Foundation Fellowship for 2 years. Of course, now after the comps, we have to come to a research question. To me, Albert Einstein is an epitome of uniqueness. He's really unique. And I wanted my research question to be unique too. I didn't want it to be explored before. So I scanned the literature thoroughly to make sure that the research question I was going to ask was not explored before. Now, scanning the literature thoroughly was a huge challenge, like really looking at a huge amount of data. So Dr. Overend again guided me through the process. He provided me some resources. At the same time, he used to push me for thoroughness. He used to push me. He used to ask me questions like, oh, okay, I didn't look at that. All right. So kind of going through the process and coming up with a research question. And finally, we settled down for what is the relationship between muscle size and strength in people on hemodialysis. Sounds simple. Measure muscle size. We could use a measure tape or use validated measures like bioelectrical impedance analysis, ultrasound, MRI, or a CT scan. And measure muscle strength, arm wrestle, or use some validated techniques like electrophysiology and biodex, etc. Bioelectrical impedance analysis, to my mind, is not very specific to the interstitial fluid in a muscle. And MRI at the time was very, very expensive. So ultrasound became an outcome of choice. But mind you, ultrasound is not very commonly used as a measure of muscle size. What we commonly hear is ultrasound of the heart or the obstetric ultrasound, but not to measure muscle size. So we were even, like Dr. Overend even had some funds that we could buy the machine, but because this is not a very commonly used machine for the purposes that we were going to use, we were not sure whether we were going to get anything worth that we really wanted. So we were kind of, it was leading us to nowhere. At that time, Dr. Paraga was referred to me for physiotherapy-specific inquiries, and she needed some information from me. So I spoke to her, so it was a give and take situation, and she gave me entry to Robarts Research Institute. That was good. She introduced us to Dr. Aaron Fenster. Literally, we had so many machines. When we went in Dr. Fenster's lab, there were like 3 or 4 machines lying there. Nobody was using them. So we thought, great, we got the machines. But we lacked the expertise. We didn't know. Like, an ultrasound machine would give you a snapshot of a 3-inch by 3-inch cube or a 5-inch by a 5-inch cube of a muscle. So how do you stitch it together to make a whole muscle? So there were too many questions. So it was really like not getting us anywhere, and we were back to square one as to wondering what outcome measures should we be using. At that time, Dr. Paraga introduced us to Dr. Bartha. And we got access to MRI at a smaller cost, but that was okay. But again, MRI does not measure interstitial muscle water. MRI cannot see interstitial muscle water. So what do we do now? Because that was the thing that we were interested in. Joe Gatti, the manager of the 3T MRI lab, then did some literature search and said we could use diffusion mapping for measuring muscle water. Mind you, diffusion mapping is not, again, a commonly used measure to estimate the interstitial fluid. It's rarely been used. It's mainly been used in the brain. So, okay, so we needed a validated technique that would then allow us to compare and see if the diffusion mapping was really doing what we were wanting it to do. That is to measure the interstitial water. So, at that time, Dr. Lindsay, At that time, Dr. Lindsay introduced us to Renal Research Institute of New York. And these established, excellent researchers, very senior researchers, Dr. Nathan Levin and Dr. Fansen Zhu, they not only agreed to provide us with the machine and the training, but they also were going to lend us the machines because that machine is not manufactured anymore. So they were going to even lend us the machine. Now, as you know, we need money for all this research type of projects. So we decided to write for a grant. At the time, my daughter was going to get married. So I was under a lot of pressure. She was getting married on October the 16th, and the grant application was supposed to be submitted on October the 15th. I sincerely want to thank Dr. Overend at this point because he used to come at 6:30 in the morning, and we used to work on this grant application. And it's in, we're waiting to hear from them. I want to say it has been very rewarding for me to be accepted as one of you, to stand here and talk to you like one of you, and be able to even apply for a grant with all these adjectives to it. So it has been a very rewarding experience for me. So it has been rewarding to me personally, but what about the pros and cons that I came across during this journey? I improved the pros first, though I improved my ability to listen. I can listen to people now without my prior bias. Obviously, after 29 years of experience, you do tend to have your own opinion, and you can get biased. But I was able to shed all that and listen to people without a prior bias. It improved my flexibility. I can really accommodate so many more things in my schedule now than I was able to do it before. Most importantly, I was able to follow my passion. I found a place where I could ask questions with no answers. The cons, I think I have experienced some ageism. I think it was both ways, like old dog, new tricks, old dog, whatever. I'm sure that Dr. Overend must have really worked hard to make me see my mistakes, because I would be like, no, that's right. No. Yeah, there's evidence for it. No, look at this citation. But I'm sure like it was a hard work for both of us to do that. And regarding my classmates, I know some of the international students have commented that I look too old to be their classmate. So anyway, so where am I today? Completed all my course requirements, completed my comps, 1 manuscript is in press, 3 are in progress, the ethics for our study has come through, and we're just waiting for the grants to come through to get started. And I want to thank so many. I want to thank my supervisor. I want to thank the committee members, my professional practice leader who allows me to come. Okay, I want to go to presentation, go, all right. So she was very good in being very flexible and giving me time off work. My colleagues for being understanding with me. Every lunch hour I used to go and hide myself in a corner in front of a computer trying to get some stuff done while I had that 1 hour of lunch. So my colleagues have been very, very accommodating with me as well. My classmates for being nice to me. And most of all, my family. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be what I am today without their support. And of course, the Kidney Foundation for giving me the money to do this. Thank you, guys.